And we're going to go to the NFL, Rob. Jerry Jones, of course, was running his mouth. Talked to a friend of the show, Clarence Hill, beat writer who covers the Cowboys. And Jerry's at the Senior Bowl scouting. So here's what he told him about Dak Prescott.
Dak has done nothing to change my mind of any promise for the future. I think I said in the deal that we'd go as far as Dak takes us in the playoffs. Remember that?
Right.
We'll go as far as Dak takes us.
Right. How you feel you playing?
And that's how far we went.
Right. So
Okay, so my point is that doesn't change a thing. We'll go as far as Dak takes us.
That's hilarious to me, Rob, that he actually said, and that's how far we went. It'd be one thing if they got to the second round exit. Right, lost in a battle. You know, they got stomped by the freaking 7th seed, stomped by the youngest team to make the playoffs in nearly 50 years on your home turf where you had won 16 straight games. I mean, that was –
It was as embarrassing as it gets. Right.
It really was, Rob. It was. I don't remember all the playoff losses, but to me, that's the worst. It's certainly the worst I've seen from the Cowboys.
Well, considering where they were, Chris, and the idea that, like you said, they had won 16 straight. They're a different team at home.
Yes.
Right, they're a different team. So you didn't get that. Somehow that team didn't show up and all the other stuff. And we already know, like, they've always been kind of lukewarm on Dak. We talked about that, Chris, waiting, prolonging it, their contract. Because it cost him a lot more money. Dak wound up getting, right, the first year of that deal, like $75 million because they had waited.
I remember the talk was, should you give him 30?
Yeah.
Should you give him 28? I mean, really, that was the talk. And
they waited,
to pay him a lot more. Yeah. Let me ask you, this is the question I want to ask you, because we know the Cowboys obviously want to win a Super Bowl. Do you think you can win a Super Bowl with Dak Prescott as your quarterback?
I mean, could you win? Sure, if you have a great defense. Yes, I'm not saying you couldn't because we've seen lesser quarterbacks win Super Bowls when they have dominant defenses, and you just if you have that day, Chris, where you show up and you don't turn the ball over and make any mistakes, could you win? Sure, but it's not. I think the problem is you don't feel like you could win because of Dak. Like, Dak is not going to carry you there. You have a so-so defense. Oh, he's just going to throw the lights out of it, the ball. You know what I mean? And beat you in that way. Like, you can say whatever you want about Eli Manning, and I know we talk about him every so often. There's no denying in the playoffs, Chris, he got it done. Right? Can we say that?
He did get it done. I mean, I honestly, and I think you probably agree with this, Dak is a better regular season.
No doubt about it.
I was, but it counts. That's not irrelevant, but at the end of the day, the bigger thing is what you do in the playoffs.
Right, but because that's what people are going to look at and say, dude, like, all right, it was nice that you won 16 in a row and you shredded and you were the NFC offensive player of the month, Chris, in November or December, whatever it was.
He'll probably finish second in MVP, Rob.
And all that. But that's we've seen the movie, and it's not like he's played one. He's been 8 years. He's been around for 8 years, Chris. It's not
Brock
new.
Purdy's already got twice as many playoff wins as Dak.
How many playoff wins does Dak have?
2.
Is that all he has?
2-5. Yep, 2-5, and Brock Purdy's 4-0.
Chris, can I give you one that will rock people's world?
Give me a hint, because I want to see if I can guess it.
Okay.
Is it a stat or what?
Yeah, stat. Jets quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead. I have no idea where you're
Mark Sanchez has 4 road playoff wins, Chris. 4.
I knew that. Yep. I knew
you
that.
know how hard it is to win in the playoff? 4.
Yep. No, I remember
and he wasn't that good, right?
No. Look, I think you pretty much hit it on the head with Dak. There are quarterbacks, Rob, that we would say, I think he's going to win a Super Bowl. Joe Burrow. It's early, but you might say that about C.J. Stroud. Maybe Lamar. I mean, obviously, it was disappointing what he did in the last playoff game. He had a great one before that. But
can I say this?
Lamar's close to that. Go ahead.
Let me just say this. If Lamar played the way that he plays, Chris, and they lost, I would be way more disappointed. I know he could play better than that. Do you know what I mean? Like what he did that Sunday just did not make any sense to me. So I'm not saying that he didn't lose or not. He can play better than that. That's not his game. That's all I'm going to say on it.
No, I feel you. But Josh Allen, he hadn't been to a Super Bowl yet, but I think you feel like he's. If I had to bet, Rob, I would say before he's done, he gets at least one. That's what I would say.
I'm not convinced because I think there's something, Jim Kelly and the Bills, Chris, had an awesome team for a stretch. They couldn't win one. There's something that just doesn't, and I don't know if it's the 13 seconds in Kansas City, Chris, that they'll never overcome. I don't know, but they should have by now. And because they haven't, you start losing players, you start losing coaches. You know what I mean? And before you know it, you look up, and fair. 8 years have gone by. That's what happened.
The point I'm trying to make is that I look at some guys in this league and think they're going to get one. They're going to get one. I don't look at Dak. I don't put Dak in that class where I expect him to get one. I do agree with you. I definitely think you can win a Super Bowl with Dak Prescott as your quarterback. No doubt about it. He's a very good quarterback. And this year he was great during the regular season. He had a great season. But like you said, you need a very good defense, which they have. They don't have the best defense in the league, but I think they do have a defense that's top five-ish. And you need, Rob, and you know I've said this since Dak got in the league. Dak cannot be the guy to put you on his back and carry you. You need your force. Your driving force needs to be the run game. And then Dak can manage the game and make some big plays here and there with his arm and with his legs. That's when he's at his best. And this year, Rob, during the regular season, he did carry them because Tony Pollard was really their only running back, their main one. And people were right about this, Rob. You and I wondered about it. But carrying the full load, not having another back that could soften up the defense and take the big hits, that hurt Tony Pollard. And he didn't have his typical season. But if you get that guy, I don't know that they'll have the money. To me, they should go after Derrick Henry. But they need a meat eater at running back who can soften up the defense. And then I think Pollard would go back to being as good as he has been in the past. But the run game needs to be your identity, and then you've got a really good quarterback who can make plays for you. But Dak, like being your best offensive player, Dak being the guy that's going to make it happen and carry you, a la Josh Allen, a la Patrick Mahomes, a la Joe Burrow. No, he's not that guy, but that doesn't mean you can't win a Super Bowl with him.
Yeah, because we talked about lesser quarterbacks who won Super Bowls. It's more.
And
about,
I think he's good. Like
I'm just saying.
You know
I'm just saying. That's why I can't. That's why I can't rule him out.
Two.
Right. I'm just saying I can't rule him out. Like, oh no, you'll never win with him. I couldn't say that. I thought they had a good chance to get there this year. I did, but
yeah, you picked them to win the NFC. What are your thoughts on where they'll be next year? Jerry alluded. He said they're going to be all in, which sounded like a reference to we're going to re-sign Micah Parsons to a huge deal. We're going to sign CeeDee Lamb to big money. And to do that, Rob, they're going to have to extend Dak because they need to, divvy out his money. And right now it would be $59 million against the cap. So they're going to extend him and pay him big money, which I think they should. I think they should. I don't think, like, next year they won't be the favorite to me in the NFC, but I do think they'll be in that group that has a shot. But, I don't like their culture. I think it's hard to win the whole thing with their culture, but I think they will be in the hunt. And I know that's not what they want. They want to win it, but I don't think Jerry's willing to make the changes necessary for them to really win it. If he were, we wouldn't hear from him all next season.
Yeah, good
Maybe
luck.
once at the beginning of the season. That's it. Maybe. I don't even want to hear from him then. No,
Yeah.
I know he's not going to do it, but it's his prerogative. He's making money for the team. But, dude, say you know what? What's the definition of insanity? Rob, you know it.
Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result.
Yes.
And he's done it, right?
And he's done it for 29 years, 30 years, whatever it is. And I wish he would just say, you know what? Next year, you're not going to hear from me during the season. Because it's going to be all about football. We're going to try to do something differently. I think we got the team to win it. And I'm just going to sit back and watch. Rob, I think his players would be so relieved. And I think they would be better off with it. I'm not saying they definitely win it, but I think they
No.
better.
I agree. I just think it's over the top and
Too much.
always saying too much. And it's because it's hard to just say, well, it's just the players. They just need to play better, and that's it. Because it's been almost 30 years, Chris, right? Like that's the problem, is there's only been one constant over those 30 years.
Right.
And that's Jerry.
No doubt.
That's the only constant.
No doubt. And it's good for business. It's good for them being on the talk shows. Heck, we're talking about them right now. And it appreciates the value of your franchise.
He's done all that. That's good. They get to A+ on all of that. Only one problem. Since Jimmy Johnson left, basically, Chris, it's been a bare cupboard. And I know they won the one Super Bowl without Jimmy Johnson. Yeah. Barry Switzer, but that was Jimmy's team. He just took over.
Right.
Jimmy handed him the keys, Chris, and he drove into the driveway. That's what he did.
Absolutely. Absolutely.